The Elisa Lam Mystery: What Really Happened at the Cecil Hotel. On January 26, 2013, a 21-year-old Canadian student named Elisa Lam checked into one of Los Angeles's most infamous buildings, the Cecil Hotel. Within days, she would vanish without a trace. Weeks later, guests at the hotel would begin complaining about strange-tasting water, low water pressure, and dark discoloration coming from their taps. What investigators discovered next would transform Elisa Lam's disappearance into one of the internet's most debated mysteries. More than a decade later, people still ask the same question: what happened to Elisa Lam? Who was Elisa Lam? Elisa Lam was born in Vancouver, Canada, to immigrant parents from Hong Kong. Friends described her as intelligent, creative, and deeply curious about the world. She was a student at the University of British Columbia and enjoyed writing, photography, and travel. Like many young adults, Elisa documented her thoughts and experiences through social media and a personal blog. In early 2013, she embarked on a solo trip across the western United States. Her journey included visits to several cities before she eventually arrived in Los Angeles. For Elisa, it was meant to be an adventure. No one imagined it would become her final journey. The infamous Cecil Hotel. The hotel Elisa chose was already surrounded by a dark reputation. Opened in 1927, the Cecil Hotel had witnessed decades of tragedy, crime, suicides, and unexplained deaths. Located in downtown Los Angeles near Skid Row, the area had long struggled with poverty, violence, and drug activity. Over the years, the hotel became linked to numerous disturbing incidents. Some guests died by suicide, others were murdered. Even notorious serial killers such as Richard Ramirez, known as the Night Stalker, reportedly stayed there during parts of his killing spree. Because of this history, many people considered the Cecil one of America's most haunted hotels. Whether those stories were true or not, the building carried an undeniable atmosphere of darkness. And now, Elisa Lam had become part of its history. Elisa's disappearance. Elisa arrived at the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. Initially, she shared a hostel-style room with other travelers. However, some roommates reportedly found her behavior unusual, and she was moved into a private room. Despite this, Elisa remained in contact with her family. She called home daily. Then suddenly, the calls stopped. On January 31st, she was last seen inside the hotel. When her parents failed to hear from her, they immediately became concerned. Elisa had never missed her daily check-ins. A missing person investigation began. Police searched the hotel. They searched nearby streets. Tracking dogs were brought in. Yet no sign of Elisa was found. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Everything changed on February 15th, when the Los Angeles Police Department released surveillance footage captured inside one of the hotel's elevators. The video would become one of the most analyzed pieces of footage in internet history. At first glance, nothing seems unusual. Then, Elisa enters the elevator. What follows is deeply unsettling. She presses multiple buttons. She moves nervously between corners. She repeatedly peeks into the hallway as though she is watching someone outside. She steps in and out several times. At one point, she appears to hide against a wall. Later, she begins making strange hand gestures and movements. Throughout the footage, the elevator doors remain open far longer than expected. No other person appears on camera. The video quickly went viral. Millions watched it. Countless theories emerged. Was Elisa being chased? Was she communicating with someone? Was someone deliberately staying outside the camera's view? Or was she experiencing some kind of psychological crisis? The footage raised more questions than answers. Days after the video was released, hotel guests began complaining about the water supply. Some reported a strange taste. Others noticed unusual discoloration. Maintenance worker Santiago Lopez was sent to inspect the rooftop water tanks. What he found shocked everyone. Inside one of the large water tanks was Elisa Lam's body. She had been missing for nearly 3 weeks. The discovery immediately deepened the mystery. The tank sat on the roof of the hotel. Access was difficult. Questions flooded the media. How had Elisa reached the roof? How had she entered the tank? Why had no one found her earlier? The rooftop was reportedly secured with locked doors and alarms. To many observers, it seemed impossible. Investigators worked to reconstruct Elisa's final movements. The autopsy found no evidence of physical assault. No significant injuries suggested a violent attack. Toxicology reports found no signs of alcohol or illegal drugs. However, some prescription medications that Elisa had been prescribed were either absent or present at lower levels than expected. This detail became important. Elisa had previously been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression. Authorities concluded she may not have been taking her medication consistently during her trip. According to investigators, this could have contributed to a manic episode involving paranoia, confusion, or altered perception. In 2013, the Los Angeles County coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning. The official conclusion suggested Elisa reached the roof herself, entered the water tank, and was unable to escape. The case was officially closed. But for many people, the mystery was only beginning. Despite the official ruling, several aspects of the case continue to fuel debate. How did she access the roof? Early reports suggested the roof was heavily secured. If doors were locked and alarmed, how did Elisa get there unnoticed? Later reports indicated that access may have been possible through external fire escapes or other routes. Still, many people remain unconvinced. Why enter the water tank? The tank's opening was not especially large. Even if Elisa climbed inside voluntarily, why would she do so? What motivated such a dangerous action? This question remains one of the most puzzling aspects of the case. The surveillance footage remains deeply unsettling. Supporters of the accidental death theory believe her actions are consistent with a bipolar manic episode or severe psychological distress. Others argue the behavior suggests fear of another person. The footage itself provides no definitive answer. Missing details. Internet investigators have spent years examining every frame of the video, every witness statement, and every police report. Some claim the footage was altered. Others suggest key information was withheld. No conclusive evidence supporting these claims has ever emerged. Popular theories. Theory 1. Mental health crisis. This remains the explanation most strongly supported by official investigators. Under this theory, Elisa was experiencing a severe bipolar episode. Her unusual elevator behavior, inconsistent medication use, and eventual presence on the rooftop could all be connected to psychological distress. Theory 2. Foul play. Some believe another person was involved. Supporters point to the unusual circumstances surrounding the water tank and the strange behavior captured on camera. However, investigators found no clear evidence of homicide. Theory 3. Paranormal influence. Because of the Cecil Hotel's reputation, some believe supernatural forces played a role. Stories involving ghosts, curses, and hauntings became widespread online. There is no evidence supporting these claims, but they remain popular among paranormal enthusiasts. Theory 4. Conspiracy theories. Over the years, theories involving secret experiments, government involvement, and coded messages have circulated across the internet. None have been supported by credible evidence. Why the case endures? The Elisa Lam case sits at the intersection of true crime, mystery, psychology, and internet culture. Unlike many cases, there is no clear villain, no arrest, no confession, no definitive explanation that satisfies everyone. Instead, there is a haunting video, a tragic death, and a series of unsettling circumstances that continue to invite speculation. The mystery is amplified by the setting itself. The Cecil Hotel already possessed a dark and infamous history, making Elisa's story feel like another chapter in a much larger nightmare. Yet, beneath the theories and online debates lies a simple truth. A young woman with dreams, ambitions, and loved ones lost her life far from home. For her family, the case is not an internet mystery. It is a personal tragedy. And while investigators believe they have explained what happened, the strange events surrounding Elisa Lam's final days continue to fascinate and disturb people around the world. More than a decade later, the elevator doors have long since closed. But the questions surrounding Elisa Lam's final moments remain open.